Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab in the wee hours of the morning. In the book, I got one book here and I got another book there. I'm having fun, so I got a nice little lesson I want to get to you. I'm gonna use two books to get my point across. So let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I ask you the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through? Yeah, that's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. Yeah, that's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and two, Maya be true. Right thinkers, let's talk about the myths and its origins, the psychology, the spirituality, the metaphoric language, the plot, and the theme. It's all a mythical language that, if understood, tells you a nice story and gives you a perfect understanding about the creation and yourself and the role that you play in it. Let's talk about it. Okay. Myths. And since the study of myths and the mystic symbolism in our ancient scriptures and iconograph, etc., will form what an integral part of the comparisons of cultures, we must first begin by gaining a deeper and a better understanding of what myth is and its purpose. Right there. With this understanding, now we may then undertake the study of the Assyrian myths. Again, we know these are myths. If the Bible thumpers knew that the Bible was mythological, they wouldn't think that people actually lived. Moving on. They wouldn't think them to be literal. But the Assyrian myth, it's about life. It's the story about life, okay? You finding yourself, Haru, going through all the things in life that we go through. It's a beautiful story. And it got a lot of merit, okay? And in any other mystical story. What? Because when you understand this, we may now undertake the studying of the Assyrian myths or any other mystical story. Every religion, every culture has a mythological story. Christians ain't no different. And what's this? And you are able, and you tell them about that book, they will be able to better understand the psycho-spiritual implications which are being imparted in every religious philosophical concept. Is for a reason, and they all mythological, theological stories. Right quick. I'm not good through all the definitions because it's redundant. I done did this lesson before, but just got some added features. I want to get to them right quick. But the definition of a myth, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, it defines a myth as a traditional story presenting supernatural beings, ancestors, better, or heroes that serve as what? Primordial types on a primitive view of the world. Again, a fictitious or imaginary story. This is their definition of myth. A person or thing to make it up to. Okay, again, we need to understand what the myth and the purpose of them. And what they're saying here, obviously, they don't get the purpose. And the third one is a false belief. If that's what your definition of myth, anybody who follows Christianity is following a false belief. That's the definition for what y'all saying. The American Heritage Dictionary defined a myth again as below: a body of myths about the origin and history of people. The Bible, the study of myths. Again, the Bible. Okay, move on down. Let me get down here to the real deal. Mythology. Accepted from Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia, not the other one. They're saying this. Mythology. The origin of the universe can be explained by modern astronomers and astrophysicists, while archaeologists and historians try to clarify what the origin of human societies. Now, in the distant past, however, before any sciences existed, the beginnings of the world and society were explained through mythology, storytelling, folklore, concepts, and theological view that you can understand and give you explanation of things that was hard to explain, so they say. Okay? But they would rather you what? Just believe what we tell you. Big difference. The word myth is often what? Mistakenly, again, a lot of people misunderstand and mistakenly understood to mean what? Fiction, not true. Something that never happened. A made-up story or a fanciful tale. Myth is really a way of thinking about the past. Is that Marcia Elliot, a historian of religions, once stated, myths tell only of that which really happened. This does not mean that myths correctly explain what literally happened. It does suggest, however, what? That behind the explanation, there is a similar reality that cannot be seen or examined. That's the unseen. Mythology. Again, I'm going to break it down for you. No, let's just stop right there. Okay, but mythology is what? The study or the science of ology, of myths, and their deeper implications. That's important. In relations to mythology, they use a term called epics. That's storytelling. We know the difference between the two. I ain't even going through that again. Fluff. I don't like the fluff. More fluff. Now, let's get down here to the good stuff. The key element in myths. Okay, whoa. I missed the Bible. Sorry about that. Mythology is the study of myths. We got that. Mythos, are stories which relate human consciousness, okay, to what? To the transcendental essence of reality, the higher understanding, and it's all mental, or it can be conceived mentally. This work is essentially a study of comparative mythology. It seeks to what? To discover the common elements in two or more systems of mythos in order to really understand their deeper meaning and develop a larger picture as they are fitted into the overall patchwork of traditions throughout history. In effect, this work attempts to show a connection and a continuality between what? Traditions that will enable the comprehension of them as a flow of the what? One primordial recurrent theme of what? Self-discovery, aka know thyself. The higher self had to be acquired, to obtain the knowledge through what? To put the work in, living, doing. In such a study in any religion, there are always what? Some who object, maintaining that differences are the overriding defining factors of any aspect of life. Wrong. But this way of thinking is what encourages incongruous in the face of what? All scientific evidence that pointing to what? A common origin for all humanity as well as what creation itself. So therefore, it seems that the movement to what understanding our common bonds as human beings should as well what move into the arena of what mythology, psychology. Why? In this manner, we may now discover that what binds us is greater than that which what tears us apart. Ignorance tears us apart. Knowledge binds us together. That's the concept. And for when we examine the argument and concepts used to what separate, they are inevitably derived from what? The emotion, politics, mainly misconception of what? The superfluities that's based on ignorance. Again, we get back to that. These lead to major controversies where in more debates and refutations and your egoistic opinions, because everybody have one, found on what? Nothing but faith and rumors, in which I call belief, and conjectures and speculation, all up here, all conceptually, and not on first-hand examination of what? The traditions from the point of view of you, the practitioner. And Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, he summed it up in a fashion. I'm not going to that. I read that before, been there. Again, I categorize that as fluff. So let's get over here. I got a few minutes here. But the key elements in any myth is its metaphorical purpose, meaning what? In that its stories and the characters are designed to provide what? A reference towards an ethological, moral, and spiritual message, aka Maya, that transcends what? The story itself. You give it life. You bring it to life. Just like the aspect of God and Goddess, we bring them to life by emulating them because we understand it and we can be like them. Those are aspects of your character. Again, y'all live the Bible. It's a book about life. And this means what? That there is an exoteric. Again, I teach esoteric. Y'all learn the exoteric. That's just the basic. Okay, I don't do basic. I want to give you the real definition, the real understanding. So that's the esoteric, the ES. The EX is outer, eso is inner. And there is an exoteric meaning, which refers to the events and the circumstances in said story, which may or may not have a basis in fact. And also there's a esoteric or a mystical meaning. That means hidden. That means not easily recognized. So you have to get under, which refers to what? A deeper teaching or a hidden message which transcends the boundaries of the event in the story. And this message is spiritual in nature. Why? When the myth is religious concept, through what? The myth, many ideas which are not easily explained in rational, logical terms can now be freely explored and elucidated in a what? An imaginative, theological, and a colorful way. Mystical myths are what? Practically important. Why? Because their purpose is what? To point to where your answer is to the most important questions of every individual may be found, where everyone is searching for what? For answers to questions like what? Who am I? Really? Is this all that I am? And a good one. Where do I come from? Okay? And what is death? That's the big one too. And what is my purpose in life? Ding, 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 ding. Know thyself. Be rich and famous? Nope. Go down in history? Nope. Know thyself. And through myths, which is what's this, through all religious concepts, that's all we got, through the teachings of sages and saints, me being a sage, my partner who teaches Christian concept, being a saint, can take a full flight and free of what? The constraints of normal, grammatical, or what? Thematic boundaries, meaning everybody got to follow you. No, you have your way, they got theirs. And therefore, myths of any kind are an ideal way to import spiritual truth. I'm a spiritual truth teller. I use myths to tell the story, to explain. In my style, which right thinking philosophy, I'm the myth. The story I tell you about that guy is mythological because you might not believe that really happened, but they did. All my stuff is real life stories. That's what makes my philosophy so different than the rest. Moving on, and which is still able to get you to transcend your ordinary human experiences for yourself and your ordinary human concepts or your rationality. You will become knowledgeable of one thing, who you are. That's what your purpose in life for, to come here to do what? Gain knowledge of self, or they say remember thyself, make a difference. But it's the work you got to put in to make that happen, because if you don't, you recycle your spirit, not yourself. Why? Because your consciousness will die if it's not enlightened, connected to the spirit self. That's why. Now I think I had something else in here that has, I'm going for it. Now let's talk psychomythology. What the what? Mystical teachings, which is the myth that we tell, is for a reason. And the mystical teaching holds that the essence of creation, and therefore of each individual human being, is the what? You are transcendental. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. If we become spiritually awakened, Nihas, reach the level of enlightenment, know thyself, we go back home. That's the purpose of being here. How about that? And what's this? It transcends the ordinary bounds of mental perception and understanding. If you're ignorant of who you are, you're going to keep coming back until you figure it out. Okay? There's things you can know. That's what I'm doing here to help you out. However, all human experiences occur where? In and through this thing right here, the mind. Therefore, the heart, which gives life, connected with the mind, heart-mind coherence, ding, 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 you win the booby prize, dog. And that's my goal, to get you to understand that one fact. Put them two together, work as one. And watch this. Therefore, your heart, the heart of all human experiences, be they painful or pleasurable, to make a difference to the heart, is rooted where? In the mind. And the purpose of the myth is to bridge that gap between the limited human ignorance mind to is consciousness and its worldly level, that which transcends all physicality, as well as the mind and the senses. Conscious level, spiritual consciousness. You have to know thyself, and thus all religious myths, which will be our primary focus in this volume. We talk about the myths now from all religion, but in this volume, it must be understood in the light of their psychological and mystical, transcendental body and mind and senses implications. Is for a reason. We will refer to this concept by a new term, psychomythology, to get you to understand through myth-telling, storytelling, and giving you instruction on what to do and how to be, to get you to know yourself, okay? So now we got the same term, psycho means mental, as is used here, must be understood, watch this, as far more than simply that which refers to the mind. There you go. But in the worldly sense, the term psycho must be understood, listen, to mean everything that constitutes human consciousness in all of its stages and states. Remember Hermes Trismegistus, your mind, he's great on every level of consciousness. That's the hidden esoteric meaning behind that, thrice great. How about that? Moving on. But most importantly, the subconscious and your unconscious levels of mind, mythology here refers to the study of the codes and the messages, because the ideas and the directives, the stories, culture, belief, etc., all that is based on the storytelling, the myth, to get you to understand. And watch this. And that affect the personality through the conscious, subconscious, and the unconscious aspects of your mind, body, and spirit, and of all individuals, specifically those effects will result in what? Spiritual transformation, meaning you're becoming conscious of who you are. Ding, 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 ding. You woke up. You become conscious, aware. And that is the whole personal, that is the key of what they call transpersonal or transcendental changes for every individual has that opportunity to do. That's why we got it conscious. That's what the brain is for. In their own personality of what? Every individual, which leads to what they call self-discovery of what? The transcendental reality behind all this existence. You know God for yourself. It's no longer a belief, no longer idea. You come to grips and become conscious of who you are. Why? Because you now know you and God are the same. He's inside you. And you're conscious of that. But understand this. A myth should never be understood to be taken literally. Okay, Bible thumpers? It's not literal. Even though some of its origins may involve actual events and actions, otherwise historical events they can put together like y'all do with the Egyptians. We know the Egyptians exist. So anything you say that connect with them, that punks you in. But anything otherwise, one will miss what? The transcendental message that's being related through the metaphor. And this would be like, you ready? Like going to the movie theater and seeing a fictional movie or reading a fantasy novel and then what? Believing that it to be what? Real. It's like your Bible. If you believe the people in the Bible real, you got some issues you might want to check out. However, as a movie or novel may be based on what? Unreal events, we know that, and yet still carry an important message which is imparted through what? The medium of the actors, the plot of the movie, and so forth and so on, to get the mystical myths. And they are not to be understood as being what? Completely baseless, nor as having been put together purely for what? Entertainment, or as what? A primitive mumbo jumbo. When they see that spiritual religious rituals, the white man called it evil. He doesn't understand. Anything he don't understand, he either kill or downplays. Moving on. But myths constitute what? A symbolic language that speaks to the heart of the people. And in a mental concept, is symbolical ways satisfying what? Their conscious need for what? Entertainment, but also affecting what? Their subconscious and even their unconscious mind and its need for what? Spiritual evolution. To get better, to know itself, to become conscious. And this psychological language of myth can lead people to what? To understand and even experience that transcendental truth of existence by practicing whatever the tenets of your religion is, and that's what's supposed to happen. That's the third degree, the mystical experience, the awakening, the mastery of oneself. All of that is supposed to be done through religious concept, and that's what it's for, which cannot be easily expressed in words. So we got to tell you the stories, got to bring you along with the myth, take you through the ritual, experience all that. I understand the purpose and the reason. Let me wrap it up. Myths is the first stage of religion. Again, the first stage of what? Religion. So if you just know the myth, and then the reenactment of the myth, that constitutes what? The second level of religion, which is the ritual. Myths constitute your heart and soul of ritual. That's making a stain in your heart and your mind by reenacting it, going through it yourself. And the myth is a mystical language for what? Transmuting and teaching the principles of life and creation so that you can understand it, grasp it, and become part of it. And your rituals are the medium through which the myths are practiced when daily and lived and realized for yourself. You have to experience it. You have to experience it. That's all I can tell you. And if you did, you would know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, what are you talking about, dog? Wrap it up right now. But the study of religions, mystical stories. Again, they know that the stories is mystical. Thank you. And it's important to what? Gain insight into your psychomythology or your psychological implications of the myth, meaning understanding them for what they meant to be. For the spiritual transformation, you have to understand them, you have to implement them, and then that's how the transformation takes effect, by your practice of it. And transformation of every individual, which leads to what we call attaining spiritual enlightenment. Ding, ding, ding. Enlightenment, what implies that you have attained the attainment of an expanded state of consciousness. You know a little something more. And it's termed as awet ab, meaning dilation or expansion of one's heart in ancient Egyptian mystical philosophy, in which there is a full and perfect awareness of one's existence, which lies beyond the mind and the body. Next level. Thus, when you delve into a myth, you personally must expect more than just entertainment. You should be equipped with what? The knowledge which will allow you to now get a deeper and the hidden meaning, true meaning of the story, so that now you may also begin to have your own experience and benefit from them and on your own personal level. In essence, live the myth, become the myth, and on a spiritual level, in essence, attain your own personal enlightenment. Only then will a person be able to engender or to enjoy a real life transformation from within of their own life, which will what? Will lead you to a true fulfillment and happiness, as well as contentment and what we call supreme peace, Hotep. This is the third level of the religious practice, and that's the mystical or the metaphysical level, the enlightenment, the you becoming one with God concept. I'm going to come back with the keys of myth. This is starting to get good. I know it took a little while. I hope you're getting this. I'm enjoying giving it to you. And in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 miles a day. So I never know that my right thinkers who understand the importance of myth that passed away.